Hey, y'all. Happy Sunday and welcome to the Hallway Life. And let me bring on my wonderful co-host. I almost forgot to add him to the stage. Dr. Wallace Lee Hall, you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Dr. Wallace Lee Hall, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Turn your camera on, sir.
Oh,
Turn your camera on.
my bad. Oh, my bad.
All right. Oh my goodness, you all big in the screen. You trying to?
Oh, right up on it.
You trying to?
Right up on it.
Let me see. Do it that way. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
You was right there. Well,
Yeah,
how's it
better.
feel to be
You was right there.
back in the studio with your wife?
Back in the studio with your wife.
Oh, I feel excited. Good. Just
you
been
feel
wanting to do this for a
excited.
while.
Good. I was, just
Being able
want
to
to do
do
this
it.
for a while, and we're just not getting around to doing it. Being able to
I
do it, rather put it that way.
Can you believe we used to do this every week?
Can you believe we used to do this every
It
week?
seems like forever
Oh,
ago.
no.
Definitely looking forward to getting back to doing it.
I
Definitely
know.
looking forward
Hey,
to getting back to
Steve,
doing it.
how are you? Thanks for tuning in and dropping by. So, the Hallway Life, just to let y'all know, is a combination of, okay, so we are the Hallway, a play on our last name, of course, and we talk about, how we do this whole marriage and relationship thing, the Hallway. We both were in relationships previous to meeting each other. We didn't get married until we were 40 or 39, 40, one or the other, I forget. And so we had kind of been in relationships and saw what worked and unfortunately what didn't work, which is what landed us both single in our late 30s. And so we just vowed when we entered into this relationship that we were going to be intentional about making sure that our marriage and our relationship was successful. And so we learned some things along the way that we thought would be helpful for other couples, and not just couples who are married, not just couples who are of a certain age, but for single people as well who have a desire to one day be a part of a thriving, healthy, serious relationship. And so we just decided to call it the Hallway. And where the Hallway Life comes from is my whole brand with living life with Stae, L.Y.F.E, love yourself first explicitly. A huge part of having a healthy, successful, thriving relationship is, that's probably because we're right here, is loving yourself. And so you have to love yourself first before you can truly love anyone else completely. So let me look in the chat and see, babe, you may have to move to your
Yeah, I'm gonna go to my office.
Yeah, he's gonna have to move. Thank you, Margo. Hey, Lee CJ, happy Sunday. Hey, living life with Lachey. Yeah, he's gonna have to move. We're actually in the same room, and we didn't think about it until later on that it might cause some kind of echo. So he's just gonna change locations for a second and be back with us. Hey, Carrie. Kicking it with Elvin said, good evening, Dr. Wallace Hall. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and being here. It is so exciting to because we literally used to do this every week. But while Wallace is changing locations, I just want to tell y'all what we're really going to be talking about today. And we do couples coaching. And one thing that we find a lot of times is couples sometimes hit this slump in their relationship where they get confused about why things aren't going as smoothly as they used to, or why things aren't as fun as they used to be. Like, we've literally had couples come and sit and chat with us, and they are on the verge of breaking up or canceling an engagement or getting divorced, even just because the marriage isn't fun, anymore. And it's like, they'll say, we used to have so much fun. We used to do so many things together. And so we want to talk about today how to not allow yourselves to get to that place where the fun is gone and all of the spontaneity and everything is gone. And so you're just two people existing instead of enjoying your relationship, because marriage does take work. Serious relationships take work. However, it should never be so much work where it's a labor, right? And so that's what we want to talk about. So everybody is just saying hello, hello. So Wallace is getting settled in. Hey, Amanda, thank you so much for being here. Amanda is a huge, huge part of the Lifer tribe. She's so supportive and in there every single day in our 15 minutes to life group. So I appreciate her so much. Thank you so much for being here, Sheer Magic. I enjoyed watching you yesterday. I just see all my peeps here, a lot from Miss T. Hey, April Showers, how are you? Saying hello to everybody. I see my sister's in here. She was the first one to let me know that I was getting some feedback, so I appreciate you for letting me know. And so, yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about, because there are things that you can do. And one of the main things that happen is we wait too long to recognize outwardly that there's a problem. So we'll sit in a relationship being unfulfilled, waiting on the other person to realize that we're unfulfilled, right? So we want them to do something. And a lot of times Wallace can tell it the story he got from the older couple that he kind of had conversation with, who had been married for 50 plus years. But the thing is, you never want to get to the point where you're both feeling that way at the same time. And so whenever you are feeling some kind of way in the relationship and you are not feeling fulfilled, if you feel like the spark is no longer there and things are different, then say something or do something. You can be that change, because another thing that happens in relationships is we get into the relationship wanting that other person to make us happy and fulfill us, when the whole part of life, the hallway life, is love yourself first explicitly. No one can, like, it is a very novel idea when people say my better half, or you complete me, or I just want someone to make me happy. But we have to think about what those words really mean, because I am a true believer in we get what we speak. I believe in the power of the tongue. I believe in manifestation. And when you think about manifestation, so many people think that it has to be like an intentional manifestation, like this is what I'm fixated on, so this is what I'm telling myself. But manifestation can be unintentional as well. If you are constantly saying negative things, or if you're constantly saying things and speaking it out that, you know, I want somebody who's going to make me happy, or I want somebody who's going to complete me, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And what you are telling your higher power, whatever that looks like for you, because there's no judgment on here, because I talked to y'all the other day on my show about, you know, religion and whatever. So I'm not one of those people who is going to condemn you for whatever brings you comfort. But whatever that is that you go to your source, if you are constantly saying that, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And what that's saying is, I don't feel complete as a person. Hey, Dr. Hall, thank you for joining us. You went over there in your dark cave. I'd be better if you would get off
Hey,
of
how you
mute.
doing?
I'm
Yeah,
good.
I gotta play around with this
Sound
to adjust it a little bit.
okay, you better. Yes, that's right, Sure Magic. Or they talk to everyone else besides
Still,
their partner when they have an issue.
yeah. Am I still on mute?
No, you're not on mute. You're here. Somebody said you was on mute.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, no, you're here. But that's the case. And you know what that leads me to, Sheer Magic, is they talk to everyone else besides their spouse or their partner. And that's how a lot of people end up in extramarital affairs or cheating on their partner, because they end up with these work husbands or work wives or whoever it is that they're telling all their business to, and then they swoop right in and like, well, I could give you all the things that he couldn't give you and all that stuff, when the thing is, until you truly love yourself, or until you're ready to speak your truth within that relationship, the same thing is going to continue to happen. That's why Wallace and I said, no, we're not doing anything in this relationship the same as we did before. So I'm going to give you a chance to chime in and say whatever you want to say, Dr. Hall, because I've been talking the whole time.
Break here because this echo is this delay is crazy here. So let me just come in there with you, and we'll
You just
just
want to come
have
sit
to
next to me?
redo our little setup here later on this week. But
Yeah,
I'm
just
coming
come
in.
on
Yeah, I'm gonna come
to
sit
me. It
next to
ain't
you.
like
Okay.
you miles and miles away. I know you got the map behind you, but you just down the hall. All right, he's coming down here to join me. But yeah,
All right. Well,
Lachey
look,
says
kick
she
me out, and I'll be in there in a second.
much better. But yeah, but he coming down here with me. But yeah, it's different, right? When we doing it ourselves. Because before, when we had our show, there was a whole staff there helping us. Now we just two folks just trying to make it happen. Yes, and putting their family in a relationship and everything. But another thing that happens too in relationships is people start off with all the gusto, right? I know you have all heard a million times how when you first meet somebody and you first start dating somebody, oftentimes you are meeting their representative, which a part of that is like absolutely normal. Things like that happen because we all want to put our best foot forward, and we all have good days and bad days. But you usually, when you're meeting somebody, you're on your best behavior. It's not the bad things that's coming up. You're not coming in complaining. You're not doing any of that kind of stuff. But in a relationship, once you two are in a serious relationship, then you are meeting people. Not only meeting people, rather, you are experiencing them on a daily basis. And so that part of meeting the representative is absolutely fine because we're putting our best foot forward. However, there are certain habits and things people start while dating that they're not able to stick to once the relationship becomes more serious, or they never even had any intention on sticking to it once the relationship became more serious. So go ahead, Wallace. Let the people hear you. What you got to say about this whole thing? You heard me talking the whole time.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna roll back through that
Well, I'm just talking about the whole thing. Well, you know what the show is about today. And so the first thing that I was starting with is how people end up finding themselves in the slumps to begin with.
Okay. Yeah, people too many times people allow themselves to become just comfortable. That's probably the best way I can put it. Working in a relationship or working toward a marriage or something like that. It is work, but like I say, it doesn't have to be tedious work. It can be fun work. When we do things like that, but because things got to be intentional. I got to intentionally show you day in and day out that I love you and I care about you and I want to be with you. I do those things not just by saying it, because love is an action word also. But if I truly say you're my best friend, then I'm going to do things for my best friend, because that's generally what friends do. Friends hang out, friends do things together, they do things for each other. And that's the way I view us in our relationship. So, by my love for you and my friendship, I want to do things for you to make you feel special. I want to make sure that I'm in tune with you. And I think that's what a lot of people get comfortable with, especially I heard you kind of talking on some people that we've kind of counseled and talked to about just trying to plan out some stuff and doing things. And it just get mundane sometimes. And, that's been one of the things I've heard from people. Things get mundane, things kind of bog down sometimes, but you got to fight for that relationship. You got to put the work in. I challenged a couple, I guess it was about 6 months ago now. Some friends of mine came to me and they was wanting to know. So I challenged each one of them to find a way to look up some ideas. My date night is this Friday. His date night will be next Friday. So just challenge you who can come with a better date night. And this doesn't cost a lot of money. I think that's one of the things that people get caught up in. Oh, I don't have money to do this. I don't have money to do that. There are so many ways that are inexpensive for you to spend time together and just show each other. Just going to the park, playing a little small picnic in the park. What does that cost? That doesn't cost anything. I challenge people all the time, use Groupon. Groupon has so many buy one, get one free and different stuff like that. And also the thing with Groupon, that gives you an opportunity to try new restaurants, try new different types of food and stuff that you never even thought of. Say, hey, let's go check this out. So when I challenged her to do this and her husband, she picked one night, he did the next week. And then all of a sudden now it's like a competition. Like they're saying, I already got my night picked out. I already know what we're going to do. And they just create that excitement. It doesn't take a lot to do that. So it just matters being intentional and making that investment in the relationship.
Yeah, and I like one thing that you said, which we talk about all the time, is the whole being each other's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny, when Wallace and I first start dating, or when we were engaged, Wallace was pastor in the church, or assistant pastor at a church. and he would go to preach, and y'all know how it is. He would have to go to visiting churches or go visit other churches, and he always would acknowledge me all the time, but he would always acknowledge me as his best friend, and he would have me stand up and, you know, whatever, and introduce me, and he would thank me for coming. And so there were people in the church scene who I guess heard tell that we were engaged or whatever at a certain point, but Wallace still continued to introduce me as his best friend. So one woman had the nerve to approach me one day after a service and say, Stae, I heard that you and Pastor Hall were engaged, but you're not wearing a ring. And every time he introduces you as his best friend. So I was just wondering, are y'all engaged? And so my answer to her was, first of all, I would rather be his best friend over his fiance any day. That best friend title means the world to me, because what do we do with our best friends? We trust our best friends with everything. We love spending time with our best friends. We laugh with our best friends. Best friend relationships typically last a lifetime, right? There's some of us who still have the same best friend that we had from elementary, middle school, whatever. So that meant the world to me. But my next answer to her was, and you should also ask him, because he's the one who's introducing me as his best friend. So why are you asking me? Because I don't have a problem with it. Evidently, you had a problem with it. And again, with us wanting to do things differently, I didn't have him go buy me this big, expensive engagement ring only to have to turn around at the wedding and buy me another ring to put on my finger that day, whether it was a band or whatever. We had goals. We were intentional. We knew we didn't have a big old wedding. And I love my ring, but I got my ring on my wedding day. You know what I mean? I didn't need anything to prove to the world that I was engaged to him. But the thing was, that best friend, that relationship that we built moving into the romantic relationship, moving into the engagement, is what keeps us so grounded and happy today, because he's still my best friend, and he'll always be my best friend. And I hope it's vice versa.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Very much so. Now, in that friendship, you know, friends have disagreements, have situations come up that aren't less favorable. So we're definitely not trying to tell you that we're perfect in our relationship, but kind of like what we say, our little tagline is, you know, we're not the best at this, you know, but this is what works for us. And a lot of people like what we, you know, kind of like how we move in our relationship. So we just kind of wanted to share that with people. And that's what the hallway life is. You guys kind of see, kind of scrolling across the page there, what it's about. Just us kind of showing you what we do and how we are in our relationship. I just want to share that with some people, because I know coming out of COVID and some other different stuff, the lockdowns, you know, divorce rates kind of went up, you know, relationships kind of fell apart in a lot of areas and things like that. But an opportunity for us to share and help others grow, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think COVID really did a number on a lot of people, because life gets so busy. And I think people got used to just coexisting, but really having two separate lives. Like, we both go to work or we do whatever. Luck's back there playing with his toy, y'all. He's like, okay, I need something.
He didn't play that toy in about a week.
Yeah, but he was like, y'all ain't paying no attention to me. But I think COVID just really shined a light on some relationships that had just been there, just stagnant, just going through the motions and doing things. And once people were forced to hunker down and spend 24/7 with each other and actually dealing with a stressful situation, because when that joker first hit, none of us knew what to expect. And it was kind of a make or break deal for a lot of couples who hadn't really examined their relationship in a long time. Now, for us, we were nervous about COVID. COVID was crazy, but we had no problem being together 24/7, because that's what we prefer. Whenever I do anything, the first person who I think about who I want to do that with is him. Like, there's nobody I'd rather spend my time with. And so it was not a big deal. We were glad that we had each other to go through that situation with. But a lot of people, it just made them realize, like, we don't even really have a relationship. Let me see. Let me look at some of these comments. She said, facts. I look at the respect, and mostly the relationship works out. Yeah, respect is a huge piece of it. I mean, like, if you don't have respect for the other person, then there's no way your relationship is going to be solid. Lachey said, having a best friend in your spouse, I think, helps keep the relationship going. You have fun, understand each other, and communicate more because of the trust. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. One thing we do every day is laugh. And most of the time it's him laughing at me. I am pure entertainment for him, pure entertainment for him. But we laugh a lot. Wallace likes to say, use the phrase, we don't take ourselves too seriously.
You can't. That's one thing you definitely can't do. You cannot take yourself too seriously because it's all about having fun. And when you start taking yourself so serious about different stuff, your guard is up and you cannot relax and have fun. You should be able to relax in your relationships. Relationships shouldn't be that difficult to kind of work through and talk about different things and, you know, have fun with each other. But I've come across some people who can't even joke with each other. You know, they can't say this or can't say that without someone taking it personal or something like that. I'm like, it's just they just joking around, just kind of clown around with you. So you got to be relaxed in that.
Yeah, you really can't be super sensitive because you have to remember that you're two different people with two different sense of humor, just different stuff happens. It's just not that big of a deal. Like Wallace is cracking on me all the time, but it's not that big of a deal. Like it's fun to have somebody who you can joke and laugh with and just have a good time with. But another thing, that's a part of communication. And another piece of that communication is also if there is something that bothers you, address it immediately.
Yeah.
Like, don't let stuff fester. Don't, feel like, oh, well, I just don't want to start an argument. Sometimes you have to argue in order to resolve something.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you have to argue to realize there is no resolve. You have to agree to disagree. But having those conversations, like Wallace and I never go to bed mad, ever. And we never let our arguments go over a certain amount of time. You want to tell them about our whole argument thing, how we do it? Because that kind of stuff, like arguing and letting arguments drag on for days and days or sleeping in separate rooms, you get used to that stuff real quick. They say it only takes how long to form a habit?
21 days.
So 21 days to form a habit. So, and there are couples who have had issues that have lasted 21 days, sleeping in separate bedrooms, sleeping on the couch, whatever. After a while, it becomes a habit and you get used to it. We vowed to never do that. We have never not slept in the same bed as long as we were under the same roof. We don't go to bed angry and we don't let our arguments last all day long. So you want to tell them how we do it?
Yeah, we had attended a marriage retreat several years ago. Excuse me. And one exercise they talk to about couples is about arguing all day and keeping things going, something like that. So the best thing is you put a time limit on what you argue about. Whether it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, don't go over 30 minutes because once it goes beyond 30 minutes, you're talking about stuff that's not even relevant to what you have going on anymore. And most of the time when people say stuff because they're tired and they're going on and on, things just end up going a whole different direction because you're pulling stuff from other places. You're pulling things from years back. You're off topic now because you're not even arguing about what the initial argument was about. So those are things why you put time limits on it and then come to a point where you have to agree to disagree. All right. I feel this way. You feel that way. You know what? We can't waste this whole day because one thing I found out in this life is short. We don't have a lot of time. That's one thing we cannot get back. Time goes. And so now you spend a whole day arguing about something. And then guess what ends up happening after that whole day? Now it rolls over into something else that wasn't even about what you were arguing about. So it's best to put time limits on your arguments. And that way you can just agree to disagree and then you move on. Because one of the things I found out in life is you can't stay angry without having other things to bring into the argument to make it fight. As they say, throwing gas on the fire. You can't do that. Just stay on topic, talk about what you do, set a time limit on it, and just agree to disagree.
I love this question from Lachelle. Why do you guys think people make relationships harder than they should be?
I can tell you that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And when relationships, this is one of the biggest things you got to stress in relationships. You got to remember, you got two people, coming together, trying to become one. That is very hard because in coming together to be one, somebody, really both people are going to have to decrease some of their ego, some of their mindset, some of who they are. So some people don't want to give up who they are. So they're going to fight left and right, not to give up who they are. But when you're giving it up to the one you love and the one you want to be with, what difference does it really make? Because I feel like I got her best interest and I pray she hopes and she feels that I got her best interest. So that's why people make relationships hard sometimes, because they really don't want to give up who they are. And in a relationship coming together, you're going to have to give up some of who you are. That's just the name of the game. But I tell you, you'll win in the end when you do.
Right. And I think that people make relationships harder than they are because they come into relationships. Either number one, they're not ready for a true commitment. And so they're looking for any reason. Some people come into the relationship looking for an out. And so they're looking for any reason to back out of the relationship. Then I also believe that because they have the fear of commitment, but then there's other people who come into relationship with unrealistic expectations. They are looking for someone to complete them. They're looking for someone to make them happy. So then when you still don't feel complete and you're still not happy, now you're making things difficult because you put all these expectations on this person that they never were going to be able to meet because you have not done the work on yourself. And y'all will hear me say this every single time I'm on this screen. You have to love yourself first. A lot of relationships fall apart because one or both of the people don't have that self-love. And I think I saw Ralisha put a comment in there about being secure. If you are not secure in yourself, then every single thing that person does is going to make you feel some kind of way. Everything they say, everything they do, as soon as they don't do or say something one day, then it's like you're feeling like something is wrong. And so people come into it with a lot of their own junk. And they make the relationship difficult. They bring stuff in from past relationships. And that's something else that we said we weren't going to do. That's why I love the fact that we had the opportunity first to be friends and kind of discuss some of these things outside of a romantic relationship before we got involved in that way. So it made it a lot easier for us. Let me see. Did you see Benny was up here? What's up, fam?
Yeah. Hey, fam.
How do y'all feel about someone saying you are my peace?
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, I'm always going to say no to anything like that unless you just say something like you are my husband, you are my love, you're whatever. But anything that has to do with giving you something that you should already have, I don't like that. Like Wallace does not disturb my peace. So he helps me to maintain my peace, but he's not my peace. I had peace before, you know what I mean? Like you have to have peace within. So my kind of rule of thumb on that is you never want to look for someone to bring anything to the table that you don't already have as far as internal things. Someone can't bring you security. Someone can't bring you stability. Someone can't bring you peace. They can't bring you happiness. They can't bring you joy. These are things that you should have on your own. And then that other person enhances that. And that other person helps you to maintain it. Like I was happy before I was in a relationship with Wallace, but now I'm happier because I get to share in his happiness. Does that make sense? I hope that answered the question. But yeah, anything that has to do with these internal or mental states and things like that, no, that person shouldn't be bringing that to you.
Now, what it can be, you know, and this is kind of the way some people look at for as peace goes, just a soft landing place. Like when I'm out there in the world and I'm getting beat up by this and getting beat up by that, that you're my person I can come and talk to. And I know it's going to be better. It's going to be all right. You're going to give me encouragement. You're not going to beat me down even more. And that's a lot of times what peace they're looking for. And that little soft space, just someone I know I can come to and help me kind of forget about what's going on out there in the world. Because a lot of us, you know, the ones that do go to work 9 to 5 each and every day, the stuff that you're battling and things you're dealing with, you know, and then you want to come home or, you know, other things are going on. You just want to come home and just have peace. You know, have someone you can talk to. So a lot of times that can mean that, but you definitely want to have that internally where if something does happen with that person, you're going to be okay anyway, because guess what? You have that peace within yourself already.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for someone to not, like I said, my biggest thing is he doesn't disturb my peace. My life is just as peaceful with him as it was without him, if that makes sense. But it's not that he brought it to me, because if you're already coming into the relationship full of chaos and, you know, always got some stuff going on, what you're going to end up doing is disturbing their peace. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Now, some people can be an anchor for people, you know, because somebody kind of may live a stability. I know men, you know, when we're out there in the world bumping our heads around, we do need a woman, someone with us that's solid, you know, or a partner with us that's solid that can kind of help balance us out sometimes, because some of us get out there in the world, get kind of crazy, but we do need somebody to kind of anchor us, and vice versa. A lot of times I've seen it happen too. So a lot of times that anchor can be that piece also, just someone I know I can, you know, still, like I said, be there for me and talk to and share my craziest thoughts with and just kind of things and talk me off the ledge sometimes, you know.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I say, as somebody who helps you maintain your peace, doesn't disturb your peace, and the whole like balancing each other out. Like there's a lot of things with like strengths and weaknesses, but my main thing is just the internal things, the mental type of things. But yeah, I can be a little bit high strung at times, and Wallace is able to excuse me.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Like you were quick to jump in on that.
No,
Yes.
I was
Oh,
looking.
okay.
I was looking at.
I'm like, I could
was
be a
it?
little high strung. Yes.
She'd
See?
we here. I was just going along with what he said there.
Facts. I say happy wife, happy life don't work if you're not. Yeah, that whole happy
It's
wife,
true.
happy life. And I think Lachey was saying something about that too, because you can end up driving somebody crazy if they're constantly trying to make you happy. If they're trying, and that's not an equal relationship. Like there should be harmony within the relationship. Like it brings me great joy to do things for him. And that's the thing too, to keep that spark in there always, just do the little things. It doesn't have to be the major stuff and the designer bags and the, extravagant vacations. It's just, I was watching a vlog today and the young lady just went in and cleaned her fiance's closet. He had been complaining and saying, his closet was a mess, but he works a lot. He works long hours. He supports her tremendously in her content creator life. And so she was home on a lazy Saturday, didn't have much to do. It was raining outside. So she just took it upon herself to go in there and clean his closet. When he walked in, he was so excited. And those are the little things that can keep the spark going in a relationship that shouldn't be easy to maintain. I mean, shouldn't be difficult to maintain. It's just that small stuff. Like I love when I've been out all day, maybe at a training, and Wallace didn't have to attend. So he's here and I come in and the house is looking good and it's smelling good. And, he's done things because I hate to clean up. Everybody knows that about me if you know me. And so it is a chore for me. So, but I don't want my house to be a wreck. So I clean up all the time, but I don't like to do it. So when I come home and Wallace has already done all the things, or even when I just go get into the shower and I come out and the bed is already made with all my pillows on it, because I have 9 million pillows that he hates. But when he takes that time out to make that bed up for me and I come out of the shower and I don't have to do it, like that sparks in my relationship. So it's stuff like that, and continuing to do it and not forget about the small stuff and not taking each other for granted.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having some pots rattling and water boiling when she come home. There's nothing wrong with that.
Whatever. Yeah, on the rare occasion that he cooks something, I'm excited about that as well. It's just those little things, like not so much bringing somebody's peace, but taking some of the burden out of their day, and so I like doing that kind of stuff for him. I get excited about buying him gifts. Something that I think happens a lot in relationships too. Our men sometimes get overlooked when it comes to the pampering and the taking care of and the wooing and the courting. We both play a role. In the beginning, I definitely believe, the men are the hunters or whatever. And, we let them court us and kind of, do the manly thing with chivalry and all that. But ladies, there is no harm in us doing the same kind of thing. Like I am not a believer in, I don't even know where it came from, that anniversaries and Valentine's Day are just about the women. I don't know. Y'all know I'm a girl's girl. I love my women all day long, women's empowerment. But there are some places where I think that a vast majority of us, just by what we've been taught, either by our family or either societal, where it's like, it's all about us. Like she was saying, the whole happy wife, happy life. Well, where'd that even come from? And it makes it look like we're bullies as women, which that's never what I want to be. I want to be his partner. So we don't really celebrate Valentine's Day or our anniversary, like with gifts and stuff like that, because fortunately we're in a place, we don't need anything. So it's just a waste of money, but we just celebrate each other. Like we both got married on that day, and February 14th has hit the calendar for both of us. Now there are certain days, like my birthday is my birthday. Mother's Day is about me. But that's another thing in our household. Father's Day, he's a father. We have 6 children between us. I celebrate him just like he celebrates me for Mother's Day. Like that's where I think some of the spark, because men kind of get tired of being ignored, not being catered to at all. And then they get their heads chopped off if they're not showing up with bushels of roses and chocolates and everything. So that's one of the things that can kind of, because in the beginning, the man is excited about it. He's doing things for you. But as time goes on, it's like, well, dang, can I get a chocolate?
Yeah, the thing about it is, we as men, we want to get courted too. It shouldn't always be the one way. We want to feel like we're wanted, because that's the best way to show a man that he's really make him feel wanted. Show him that you care about him. Show him you think about him when you buy him something nice. Buy him something. Don't necessarily buy him a new tool or something like that, even though that's okay. But buy him something nice that he might like. A nice pair of slippers or some silk pajamas or something. Just different stuff. Hint, hint. But there's just different stuff to kind of put out there to kind of do it, because, like I say, it's a two-way street. There's no doubt about it. It's a two-way street. It's got to come both ways. And you got to share in that, and we as men, I know a lot of men are macho and things like that. They used to use the term macho.
No.
They try to be super manly, I guess. I don't know, whatever the latest term is out there.
Okay. What is it? What are the people called? YMCA people?
Village people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if they still use that term, but y'all know what I'm saying.
Mm-mm.
But definitely, men want to feel that you care about them, that you show them stuff. You buy them little stuff, buy them. She buys me watches. She's bought me some really nice watches through the years, because I love watches. So it's just different things like that, those little things, little details. And like I say, sharing that today when the young lady, cleaned up her boyfriend's closet. I thought that was awesome, because he was just blown away. He was almost in tears that she had took time out of her day to do that for him, and just those little things. We always talk about it's in the details. It's always in the details.
Yep. I like that. Happy spouse, happy house. Perfectly said. I love that. And it's those little things. And that's something that I look forward to, right? So I know now, Wallace has me spoiled. I know now, definitely, like if I have to go out of town, I am coming home to a completely organized house. My closet, because again, I'm the one who is more unorganized and more sloppy and more chaotic with my stuff. I'm the one who's going to have shoes in every room or whatever. And it gets on his nerves. But I know if I'm gone for any time at all and he's here, he's going to have it all together. And so I love that. And it doesn't cost a dime. But those are the things that I think sometimes when people talk about the flame going out or their marriage or relationship losing the spark, it's because the other person is no longer actively doing things to let them know that they're important to them. And I think that's what happens. And it's just those small things, like whenever I'm making myself a cup of coffee, I'm automatically going to ask him if he would like a cup of coffee, and sometimes people just get into relationships and start fending for themselves. And that's where things go wrong. I have my wife over here saying, I care. Yes, you sound like a caring husband. Yes, everyone should be celebrated on both ends. Yeah, I definitely believe that. I don't know where that stuff came from, that anniversary and Valentine's Day and stuff is just about the women. It's not. And I just hate the light that puts on women, that makes us look like we're just takers and, we just want to be catered to. And it's just not the case. And I know I can see as a man, feeling like you're being discounted or taken advantage of. Oh, was that the last one? Oh, no, here we go. I think some people hold on too tight to the gender roles in the household. That's a tough one for me, Lachey. Oh, gosh. All right, y'all. So I believe in the gender roles in the household, but I do realize that can look different for everyone. And to me, treating both people with love and care is not a gender role. To me, that is a both people type of thing. However, I do truly believe in the order that God sent for us as man, being the head of the household and being a submissive wife. I kind of get scared when I say that, but I think if you get to know my personality, you'll realize that I'm probably not the submissive wife the way most people look at a submissive wife. But what I do is I respect my husband as the head of the household. And when you're equally yoked, that shouldn't really be an issue, and it makes things run a lot smoother, in my opinion. When I say that he's the head of the household, again, with being equally yoked, is not even something that comes up a whole lot. But you think about it, in most relationships, unless you are into polygamy, and I see the comments blowing up, I wonder what it's about. But unless you're into polygamy, most relationships are going to be two people. We're two people, we're two different people with some things that we might not always agree on, but a decision needs to be made. So in those times where Wallace and I don't necessarily see eye to eye, then there has to be a tiebreaker because the decision needs to be made. And so at that point, if we come to an impasse where we're just not both seeing eye to eye, as a submissive wife, I concede to my husband's decision. And most of the time, it's not even that we're completely off base. You know, the old saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And so if we can't decide on whose way we're going to do, it's usually going to be his way. So in that respect, I believe in the gender roles. And I also don't have a problem cooking for my husband, making his plate, doing certain things that would seem more wifely. But again, because I do that and because I show up in that way, then he does the same things for me in return. So
because, you know, being secure and being in manhood and what, like me, you know, the way I feel about it, you know, a lot of times when things like that happen, I'll just go ahead and say, all right, if you feel that strongly about it, I will roll with what you got to do. I have no problem in it. That doesn't make me feel like less of a man or anything like that. But I do know people do get caught up in that. I'm the man, I'm this and that. And that's just not, that doesn't make for a, especially in today's times. Now, back in the day with,
put your foot down.
Yeah, Big Mama, Big Papa, and all them back in the day, that was a little different story, how they ran their houses. But in today's time, that doesn't quite carry the same in houses like it used to. You know, it's more now of this is truly a 50-50 partnership. And sometimes she's going to take the lead. Sometimes I'm going to take the lead, you know, and we just try to earn it out and make it work the best we can.
Yeah. What does she say? I color coordinated my wife's clothes by the size of shirts and dresses and her shoes, and she be going crazy. She tried to keep it looking good. That sounds just like us. Sounds just like us.
Thing. Yeah.
Yes. I'm saying as far as the man should never touch a dish or mop. No, right. And that's what I mean. I don't think it's necessarily that he should never do that. But I think it's also that when you are equally yoked and you have a certain idea of how it should be, those things are automatically going to happen.
Yeah,
like
I wash dishes and mop floors and cook. I do it all.
Let's see. My husband and I are working on getting back out since both of us have battled cancer at different times and have not been able to do the things we used to. So it's been like dating all over again. Well, I hate that y'all had to experience cancer at all, but I'm loving the way that you are moving forward afterwards. And it seems like, you know, yeah, I mean, when you shared that with me the other day, your battle with cancer, I had no idea that your husband had battled cancer as well. But I'm loving the optimistic and almost like out of a terrible situation, y'all are finding something new in it and exciting. So I love that. Amanda's awesome. Let's see here. I can't see from a distance. Submission is not what most people think. No, not at all. Not at all. Both parties submit to each other. Yes. Hey, wellness. Hello. Let's see here. Submission comes with trust. So everything you're saying makes sense. People hear the word submit and clutch their pearls, but it's all about trust to lead. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why I always say you have to be equally yoked. Right. And so, yeah, every relationship is not going to be able to function that way, but it should be able to. But what happens a lot of times, me included, because again, this is not the first relationship I ever had in my life. I met Wallace in my late 30s. So yeah, I had other relationships, but I didn't have the trust there. And I wasn't with who I was really supposed to be with. I was with who I decided to be with. And so that makes the difference. But when you're with who you are truly meant to be with, then those things fall into place. And I tell everyone, there are always going to be signs early on in a relationship, unless someone suffers some sort of, you know, mental breakdown or has something happen where their personality has been altered or changed. Most of the time we see signs early on in a relationship, sometimes within the first one or two conversations, but out of that desperation, which is a word that people don't don't want to ever use or admit that they've ever felt, but we've all been there at some point. You decide that you're going to ignore those red flags, and so you move on. And so, of course, you're not going to be able to have the trust and be able to structure your relationship in a certain way because it was never there to begin with. And so you have to use your discernment when you're dating to really be clear about, is this the right person? And don't spend months and months and years trying to create a relationship that should have never been. And so that's where sometimes things fall apart from the very beginning, because we're not waiting on that person who we're really supposed to be with, and we're trying to force something that was never supposed to be. Anything on that, babe? I'm just looking at the comments.
No, you kind of hit it dead on there, babe.
Okay. Equally yoked is not just about the God you serve. Tell the people about that part. Yeah, it's not at all. And equally yoked is not just about, romantic relationships and marriage either. I feel like you need to be equally yoked in all of your relationships, friendships, business relationships, even your relationships with family members, because that's something I can't stress enough, is DNA does not necessarily a relationship make. Just because you share the same DNA with someone, whether it's a cousin, whether it's the person who birthed you, whatever it is, it does not mean that you're equally yoked. So that's something that you need to take seriously, because I always tell people, God is not the author of confusion. So if you're in any type of relationship where there's constantly confusion and chaos, then that relationship is not of God. And I don't care who it's with. And until you're able to see that and remove yourself from that toxic relationship with whoever it is, there's going to be chaos. And chaos doesn't live where you are equally yoked. And we say all the time, we are not perfect. We fuss, we disagree, but it's how we recover from the fussing and the disagreement that lets us know that we're equally yoked. So it's not that, oh, we're equally yoked and, our marriage is structured this way, so we never have an argument. No, it's about how we recover from it and the rules, almost like we were talking about earlier, that we set in place, not to let things go on and on and on and on. I am all about enjoying life in this part of my life. I'm not trying to waste a whole lot of time disagreeing about stuff. And so what am I going to waste the whole day? Like Wallace and I can get into it at 11 o'clock in the morning and be out to eat, walking in the trails, going to a movie or whatever by 2 o'clock. Like nothing ever happened. And that's because of the rules that we set and the boundaries that we created, that we're not doing this. We're not going to be that upset, unhappy, mad couple all the time. And most of the things really aren't even that big of a deal. And it's just like, okay, do you want to keep on talking about this, or do you want to go have some fun? What do you want to do? And we don't do it and it's phony or it's tense. No, we literally are like, okay, I'm done with this. And we get in the car, we turn on some music, we laughing and joking, and that's it.
Yeah, because generally it's you've said your piece, I've said my piece. So we, it's at that point now where we need to say, hey, we need to move on and do something more productive with our day. Because like I said, life kind of goes further than that. And that kind of talks on the piggyback with that kind of goes along with, rather, when we talk about intimacy in a relationship. Intimacy is not always involving sex and things like that. Intimacy is just how you go into each other, how you feel about each other, how you interact with each other just throughout the day. That intimacy in a relationship, walking around holding hands, just being in love and, getting lost in that person's eyes, or just saying sweet stuff to them. That's intimacy, just being that part of intimacy. So many people always talk about that it's something else, involves sex. It doesn't involve that all the time. It's about just how that relationship flows. Are you really into each other? And kind of go along with, she talked about the being equally yoked. That's just about how you go into a relationship, how you feel about that person. And do y'all have the same values in mind? Are y'all headed in the same direction? That's really what equally yoked means, that we can move in the same direction together. We got the same mindset. We go to the Bible and how the Bible lays it out, but it's really just about trying to move in the same direction, that you have someone that's with you and willing to fight for you and move in the same direction you're trying to go.
Yeah, and that's so funny. So you mentioned intimacy and mentioned sex. So of course, I am going to be the one who feels more comfortable talking to the ladies out there. Please don't use sex as a weapon or a punishment. in your relationship, because that's the kind of thing as well that, I mean, of course, that's an intimate part of your relationship. It's a personal part of your relationship. It's a sacred part of your relationship. So why weaponize it? And the thing is, like we talked about earlier, what you feed, what you continue to do is what will grow, and you will get used to it. Your husband will get used to it. And then all of a sudden you decide that, okay, I ain't mad at you no more. And then your husband's looking at you like, I'm good over here. And then it's like, oh, you don't want me no more. Like, don't do that. It's just, I don't know. Again, I don't know where that came from. Like, where did that end up being the thing to like, okay, well, he did something I don't like, so I ain't giving him the like, why is that the thing? And it should be another thing too. In a lot of relationships, the sex portion of it is looked at that's more about the man. So as women, you hold sex hostage, you use it as a weapon, as if like it should be for both of you. And that should be a way for y'all to connect. I'm not going to talk about it real long because, you know, I'm a little shy when it comes to talking about this stuff, but I didn't want Wallace to be the one to bring it up and talking. Hey, cousin Rhonda, I'm looking over on Facebook. I'm trying to see everybody because all the comments from Facebook don't always come over here. But hers did come over here. Okay, hers did come over here. But I wanted to make sure I shouted out my favorite cousin. But yeah, don't use sex as a weapon in the marriage, because sometimes that can come back to bite you. Because one day you gonna feel like, okay, the strike is over, and he gonna be looking at you crazy. And, you know, maybe now he'll use it as a weapon. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's ridiculous. And that's just nothing to play with at all. Withholding sex is going against the covenant. Yeah.
Yeah. Had a pastor friend of mine give me some advice on that when I was first got into ministry, you know, and he was talking about counseling and, you know, having these sessions with people, and we discussing that. And he said, you almost got to treat sex like it's his own person. It's part of your relationship. And, you know, just because you had an argument, the sex didn't have an argument. Just because the sex didn't make anybody mad. So long as you got, so why penalize the sex when the sex had nothing to do with whatever was going on? And you know, the sex didn't say nothing. The sex didn't do this, didn't do that. You know, why penalize the sex? And when you think about it like that, like, okay, I see what you're saying, and I can definitely understand. You don't want to make the sex mad, you know, or deprive the sex.
Oh my gosh, what does she say?
Backfire.
Yeah, it can backfire on you. And it's like, I just don't understand, because again, why not utilize it as a tool to maybe help you get over whatever it is? Because that is a connection and an intimate part of your relationship, just like having the conversations. Another thing that cracks me up is how people have issues, so then they stop talking. No, that's when you need to be talking. Yeah. Why do you stop talking? Nothing is going to get resolved if you stop talking. And again, you get used to it. It becomes a habit. So now y'all just ain't talking. Wallace and I witnessed one time at a restaurant where we were sitting at a table across from this couple who sat there for over an hour, got appetizer, drinks, entree. I don't know if they got dessert or not, but they got stuff. And they never said a word the entire time. And the thing is, they weren't even on phones, were they?
Yeah, they were on phones.
Were they on phones?
But I thought you know how sometimes restaurants crowded. It's
it was very crowded.
But that's what I thought. I thought, oh, maybe they just set them at the same table. But no. They were together the whole time, but they were kind of looking at their phones. They kind of look at each other, but nothing was said the whole time we were there. And that was really sad to me, that they had no conversation for each other. And here's a couple sitting there for over an hour, and y'all don't have anything to talk about, nothing at all.
That was crazy to me. And that's the thing, you know, like Wallace thought that, you know, he was like, well, maybe they just sat them together, because it was really crowded. It was about this time of year, because it was the beginning of crawfish season. Yeah. And that's why we were going there, to try to crawfish, because I am a crawfish fanatic. He don't fool with crawfish. He'll eat it if I peel it. Ain't nobody doing that. But we were like, so maybe, but then the check comes, and it's one check, pay for it. They both get up and leave. And it's like, really? But again, that's what happens. You just get complacent, and you're just going through the motions and just doing things just for the sake of doing them, but there's no real joy. And so you have to talk and communicate with one another all the time. What sex is like water. Somebody like holding water. No,
Hey,
and I don't understand it either. I don't. I mean, unless there's some medical reason or whatever, that's just crazy. I mean, I don't know. It's just, to me, manipulation, and manipulation in a marriage is never going to work. And my cousin Rhonda was saying, don't do something to somebody that you wouldn't want them to do to you. And that's the thing. You can't be in a relationship manipulating. And but another thing that I would say too, if anybody is in a relationship where things like that are happening, have the conversation, do what you need to do, but don't cheat.
because we came across a
Did
couple.
you hear me? Don't cheat. Don't. No, I'm saying I wanted people to hear
Yeah.
that. Like, that's never an excuse. So no matter what I say when I'm talking about, one person doing something to another person, the solution is never to cheat. Now, it may unfortunately be that you need to part ways, but do that before you enter into a new relationship.
But we recently came across a couple. They haven't been intimate in that way in over a year or so, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they hadn't been like that. They sleep in separate bedrooms and stuff. And my question is, were y'all just together just to share the rent? It's just what are we doing here? And neither one is happy. I don't really know if anything's really going on outside the relationship. That wasn't shared with us, but that they hadn't been together like that in over a year or so. And I'm just like, if both of y'all are everything's working on both of y'all, what is the situation here? And you're trying to just really dig in because really intrigued on that. Didn't have a lot of time in the space that we were having this conversation. It wasn't really quite that particular space, but I don't understand that, because when it gets to that point, what are we doing?
Hey, sunshine. Yeah, and I have talked to some women who are almost like proud of it, wear it with a badge of honor, like, oh no, I ain't done nothing. And especially when you get to be my age. I am a seasoned woman of 52. And a lot of my friends tend to be older than me. I have a lot of older friends, like, who are 10, 11 years older than me. And they like and proud, like, oh yeah, I ain't had to do nothing with him in 3 years. Like, had to in 3 years. Like, that is just crazy to me. It just, it's just not a way to function in a relationship. And I think so many things that we run away from and leave alone because we're unhappy are some of the very things that can probably bring some happiness back into the relationship. And I tell people, when you are really trying to be intentional about repairing your relationship and keeping the spark going or whatever, sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. Yeah. You have to, like, even if you don't feel like it, even if you don't want to have the conversation, even if you don't want to have the sex, whatever it is, fake it until you make it. Because sometimes we get in our head so much, like, well, he did this or he didn't do that, and I'm just so upset. And you convince yourself that if you give in, then you're being weak, or you're just letting him or her walk over you. And that's not the case. You're getting in your head too much. You probably done talk smack to somebody else about the situation and now you feel stupid. And that's the thing. You can't let other people. That's why I believe in coaching and therapy. Talk to someone who is totally unbiased and not a part of your relationship or your family, who can really hear you and give you good, solid advice. And quit talking to people who aren't in a relationship or have a bunch of failed relationships. Quit going to them for your marital and your dating advice, because guess what? They don't know. And if they knew, they wouldn't be in the situation that they're in.
I'm loving Sheen, his comments, boy. I tell you.
He said it ain't worth that. And Sunshine said, right, what did she say? Oh, she was just saying, hey, they're kicking it with Elvin. I'm not good at faking. I don't know. Do I got to pause you, Jags? Is that a pause? You ain't good at faking what? Let's see. If you're married, you're holding out on your own stuff, holding out on sex, that body belongs to you, LOL. Right. I mean, it just makes no sense to me whatsoever. And the thing is, I think that happens a lot of times too, where people share with too many people.
Oh man.
And so then you kind of get yourself stuck in this, well, if I go back or if I do this and that, then I'm going to look stupid because I said whatever. Or, people now have their whole family mad. And that's the thing. Don't be announcing your breakups or whatever it is that you're going through before you're sure. Like,
definitely don't put it on social media.
Oh gosh. We have seen that with grown behind married people going at it on social media,
Yeah.
like ridiculous. And then you end up back together and you looking crazy. And now I can't unsee or unhear what I already saw and heard. So now I'm looking at you both like you crazy. Keep your stuff to yourself, like all your stuff. keep it to yourself, because that can destroy a relationship. And me and my best friend have a little pact between us, like not even on mad day, right? So there are certain things, I don't care how mad Wallace might make me, how mad my best friend might make me, whatever. There's certain stuff that I am never going to say, not even on mad day. No advice from Steve Harvey. I don't even know what to say about that. Steve Harvey is definitely not.
I'm not sure where you're going with that. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Definitely not my phase. What, the act like a lady, think like a man.
Mm-hmm.
So, cousin Rhonda says so true. But yeah, y'all, it's just little things. And I think sometimes this might sound silly, but sometimes people just take the relationship way too seriously. Back to what Lachey was saying, it really doesn't have to be that difficult. If you want to be in your relationship and you are confident in your relationship and you trust the person that you're in the relationship with, just let it flow. Like, don't overthink it. Don't have these unrealistic expectations, and just keep doing the stuff that you always did. Like, keep sending the text, in the middle of the day, keep, buying the flowers, or keep, giving the foot rubs, whatever it is. Just keep doing that, because the things that initially made you fall in love are ultimately the things that are going to keep you together. One of the biggest things with me and Wallace, which I think is a huge pillar in our relationship, is how much we laugh. Yeah. Like, we laugh and joke. We are so ridiculous. Like, there are times where we can just sit and talk and like make up the goofiest stuff, and it can go on forever.
Let me give y'all a little something here. Y'all can try.
Are you going to talk about? Oh,
I'm not
just going to talk about the coffee club.
I'm not going to go deep into it. But interview each other.
Oh yeah.
Just take about 20, 30 minutes and say, hey, I'm going to interview you today, and just ask any questions. Y'all just take some time out each other, turn the TV off, put the phones down, just interview each other. Just ask some of the most randomest stuff that pop in your head. Just some crazy stuff, and you'll be surprised how just you sharing that, just sharing and laughing and giggling like little like you go back to like when you were teenagers, when teenagers, no, you hang up, you stay on the phone all night long, but just sit there and just interview each other, just have some fun with it. And that's really what marriage and relationships and stuff is supposed to be about, just having fun and enjoying each other.
Yeah, and it's just little things to break up the monotony. Like, me and Wallace will sit here and just play Uno, sometimes turn on some old school music. We love sitting outside, enjoying our space, light a fire outside. There's just things we love to do. Like, music is so soothing, and music in and of itself can be a conversation starter. I coached a young lady who her husband didn't want to come to couples coaching. So she came to me for life coaching, but a lot of what we did was marital coaching, but it was just woman to woman, wife to wife. And she was saying that her and her husband were the type that sit and can have dinner together and not say a word, but they were very social and would go out and eat with other people. But a lot of times when you're hanging out with couples, the women are over here, the men are over here. And so they had mutual friends, couple friends, and that was really the only time they would have fun. But when it was just the two of them, it was like crickets. And so I told her some things that you can do, which is play a game. You're going to have to communicate in the game, things to get the conversation started. Get one of those games that's a conversation starter game where you just pull a card and the topic's on there and you talk about that. There are certain things that you have to do to kind of get the engine going, right?
And so
being intentional about it and not giving up, because, she was just tired of the quiet. They were empty nesters now. And that happens a lot of times when we have those changes in our life. And she was like, my house has never been so quiet. And my husband just comes home, he gets ready for bed, he starts watching TV. I go in my little room, I'm watching TV. I come in there when it's ready for bed. We eat dinner together and we sit at the table and we don't talk. But you can't let those things pass. You have to figure out ways to start a conversation. And the one thing that will kill conversation is having that TV on constantly. I tell couples, whenever you are going through this kind of slump, if you have a TV in your bedroom, get it out of your bedroom, at least for a little while. Force yourselves to go in there at night and make that your sanctuary. Have that pillow talk about each other's day. And ladies, he has a day as well. We always want to unload and talk about our days. And I'm not bashing women. I can't say enough how much I am a girl's girl, but that is why I say it. You know how to say it? I spank you because I love you. And that's why I say this stuff to women, because there was a time when I was guilty of a lot of this stuff. So I'm telling you what I know to be true. We do tend to be selfish a lot of times in our relationships, right? Because we feel like we're doing everything. We're raising the kids, we're cooking, we're cleaning, we're doing all the things. But he's doing his part as well. And so, ask about his day, but you have to be intentional setting that time aside. Wallace and I, we do have a TV in our bedroom. We didn't always, but what we do at night is we put on nighttime meditations, and we, put on quiet music, and we have that unwind time. And it just brings us a connection, and it brings us on the same wavelength, and the things that we are manifesting and the things that we're affirming. And that's how we end each night with us, which is a huge connection for us.
Yeah. The interviewing, who was that? Oh yeah. Ashley said the interviewing, the coffee club situation. She kind of threw that out there.
I said, don't talk about the coffee club.
She had took a job many years when we first got together. Everything we were just dating. We were just starting to date at the time. And
thank you.
She had been working at this place, and they had a coffee club at the office where she was working at. And I had never really heard of a coffee club. And so she started trying to tell me about the coffee club. So that turned into just me interviewing her about the coffee club, asking a little silly question like, okay, so is somebody supposed to bring the cups one day? Somebody supposed to bring the coffee? And she goes, oh, everybody putting their money. I said, so who's to make sure who's spending all the money? Is the money spent right? I said, what if somebody don't pay they fee that week for the coffee? Who's going to go up and tell them, hey, you can't have no coffee?
He interviewed me about this coffee club for like an hour, like just asking me 9 million questions. And of course it was silly. At first it started out as something serious where he was like, y'all got a coffee club. What does that mean or whatever? But then when I was explaining to him, he just got really silly about it. And this was 10 years or more ago, because we've been married for 10 years. So I think this was before we got married, and we still talk about it today. And of course, to y'all, it might sound like what, but that's just a memory for us because it had us laughing. And then of course, in the days to come, that's what he would check on with me at work. Like, well, how'd everything go with the coffee club today? And it's like,
who gonna tell Barbara she didn't put up $5 in this week that she can't have no coffee? I just want to know who's the enforcer. So
yeah, just little silly things like that. I mean, one day we just laid here talking about different smells, which was funny, just coming up with goofy stuff. Because I think one of our sons, who first said that something smelled like something, or was it one of your employees? But somebody said that somebody's lunch smelled like giraffe lips and alligator toes, like something completely crazy.
No, this guy came in. I said he smelled like diesel fuel and gorilla armpits. Just
right. So Wallace tells me that story when he comes home from work. So then we literally, y'all, this is embarrassing. We just sat and came up with different smell combinations that sound ridiculous. Like, what do you think that could smell like? That might smell like
Impala kneecaps and baby oil.
Right, like just goofy stuff. But that's what I mean when I say don't take yourselves too seriously and just laugh. Have a good time.
Because if you can't let your guard down around your significant other, who can you let your guard down around?
Yeah, it's just fun. I mean, we are two of the silliest people. We love to people watch. That's another good conversation starter. That's another good date night. We'll just go sometimes down to Sundance Square here in Fort Worth, grab a Starbucks or whatever, and just sit and watch people and make up their stories. And, those are just things to do. And that's another thing I want to talk about too, ladies. I've been seeing a lot on social media about, it's been months ago now, but the young lady who was refused to let her date take her to Cheesecake Factory. And funny thing is, fun fact, due to that video, Wallace and I intentionally went to Cheesecake Factory to see, and we loved it. Like, it was great. I had some kind of truffle chicken breast and whatever, so I didn't get it. And we go to all kind of restaurants. Wallace and I are everywhere, from the food truck, the hole in the wall, to 5-star.
I don't know why people put that out there hating on Cheesecake Factory like that, man.
But here's what I want to lend to us ladies when it comes to dating, and something that I have shared with many of the women who I coach. When a man is single, he has the right to be dating, quote unquote interviewing several women. As long as he's upfront with you, that's fine. It's dating. There's
the chances are she
no
could be doing the
commitment.
same thing.
Right. And so this man, there are 7 days in a week. Maybe he's taking somebody new out every single night. Again, nothing wrong with that. He's a single man. And if he's not in a committed relationship and he's looking for something that he hasn't found, that's fine. Everybody out here is not millionaires. So he may not have the financial means to treat someone out to a 5-star, $200 plus meal every night or every other night, or maybe even every weekend. And so a first date should be more about getting to know someone's personality and finding out if we indeed want to have another date or even another conversation. There is absolutely nothing wrong, no disrespect, no shame on a man taking you on a first date that's just a coffee date, maybe. Maybe the first date is just cocktails and dessert, even though I strongly suggest stay away from cocktails on first dates unless you're maybe just having one. I'm just saying, pro tip, you can take it if you want to, but I always tell my coaching clients, do not, I mean, not pro tip from experience, just common sense to me. But, you know, you always want to make sure that you're 100% you in your date. You want to remember everything, whatever. That we can talk about that on my channel. But do not be offended if a guy asks you out for the first time and the date is not to anywhere extravagant, because that's an investment that he's making that he's not sure is going to pay off. And I'm not talking about paying off as far as putting out. I'm talking about just paying off. Like, I may never see you again. Why do I want to spend $100 on you tonight? And I'm okay with that. And I'm also the mother of 4 boys. You know what I mean? And so that is how I've raised them and told them they don't have to be out here whining and dining every single young lady they come across. What I want them to do is treat them with respect. I want them to pull out the chair. I want them to open the door. I want them to have conversation. I want them to compliment her. I want them to be kind. And that's what, as women, we should really be looking for, because he can go out there and spend $500 on a date and treat you like crap. Never give you one compliment. Let the door close in your face. What is more important? And what somebody spends on a date, whether it's the first date or a 10th, really is no true sign of what their financial status is, because some people with a lot of money have a lot of money because they don't spend a lot of money. Some people with a little bit of money got bad credit because they out there living above their means and charging things. So the mindset is just so strange to me that you're going to judge the character of this man and whether or not he could be a good provider based on a first date. And this could be the first date and then he can't keep it up. So just let's not do that, ladies. Let's not.
I love some Chili's or some Applebee's chili, you know, getting that 2 for $2. You know, I'm all about 2 for $20 rather back then.
Oh yeah, she said she would never go to Applebee's. Like, girl, give me that sizzling chicken. Right.
That sizzling chicken was all the
he
cheese.
Loves the sizzling chicken.
Oh yeah.
Let me see. I'll pass on Applebee's. Suffer from food poisoning.
No, we can't do that, Sunshine. We maybe get a sponsorship from Applebee's, so we don't keep that up there too long.
No, and that's the thing too. Now, I do have a couple of places that have like creeped me out, but I, will say that up front. So it's like, yeah, I don't do Applebee's, but maybe we could do Chili's, like that kind of thing. Dating is collecting data. Keep your legs closed until you both communicate exclusively. Yes. Lachey, I almost didn't make it home in time. Oh, dang. Could be the location, not all places. Yeah, that's true. But my thing is, I got to preach cuz from my fave cousin. Let me see. My daddy told me if you can't afford it, don't ask for it. That's a good one too. Okay, so that brings me to another thing. Let me get the comments though. I've had one of the best first dates of my life to date. Starting off at the coffee shop, ended up showing me hidden gems of Atlanta that didn't cost money at all, but the conversation was so good. That's what I mean. And that man could be a multimillionaire. Oh, Casey's here. Hey, Casey. Hey, fam. Oh, there's Darius. What's up? I like Chili's. Yeah, Wallace likes Chili's. They just built one up the road from us. You just got Chili's what, last night? Was that last night you got? Friday. Mm-hmm. He got Chili's. But I thought of something else I wanted to say about the whole dating thing. And I don't remember, dang, about the whole dating thing, ladies, and the first dates and whatever. I don't know. It slipped my mind. But yeah, we can't be judging people, their pockets or nothing based on a first date. Oh, what I was going to say, I knew it would come back to me. I'm scared again. But ladies, you also, back to what I was saying before about being fair and whatever, don't be afraid once you're dating. Now, I don't have a problem with women expecting a man to pay for a first date, especially if he asked you out. However, if you continue the relationship and you continue to date for weeks and months, there is also no shame in you paying sometimes. I mean,
You know, that's part of it. You know, when the challenges, when we were talking about the earlier, when I mentioned about me coaching the young lady and her husband about using Groupon and those things, to ask them out. You know, flip it around sometime. If that's the way it is, you know, ask them out. You know,
who asked who out?
The woman asked the man out. No, not on the first day. Once I mean, you know, if you're in a relationship in a marriage, you know, just go back and just put that spontaneity. Oh, don't act like you haven't done that. Put that spontaneity in a relationship.
Ask out?
Me,
Hold
woman.
on, y'all. When did I ask you out? Oh, you mean as we're dating? If I say, "Hey, you want to go to such and such today?"
And you want to get married.
See, I was look, y'all was about to. The
But
hallway
you
was
can,
about to go the wrong way.
But turn around and flip. You know, those people talking about trying to create spontaneity. If he's not doing it and you're not doing it, one of you should move forward and do it. Ask the other one out. You know, there's nothing wrong with taking him out. You know, I think Usher even had that song tonight. We're gonna, what was it, reverse the roles or something? When he talking about, you gonna pick me up, you gonna do this.
Oh yeah, so
changing things up sometimes.
No, and that is fine. That is definitely fine. I thought he meant like ask a guy out on the first date. Like
no, that's a little weird.
I coach against that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, because I believe that men notice you, and if they want to ask you out, they'll ask you out, and if you're too shy, then it's just your loss. But yeah, but as far as once you're in a relationship, yeah, there are again, showing your appreciation. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with paying. But yeah, that to me, those are just the little things that you can do. You know, I invited Wallace to a whole vacation. You know, the first time he went to Virginia Beach, I was just like, hey, you know, why don't you come with me? And, you know, whatever. And that's what I did. But we may have even been engaged. Yeah, we were engaged by then. Oh no, or were we married when I took you to Virginia Beach?
No, we were engaged.
Yeah, we were engaged. And so, yeah, I took him on a whole vacation, but you know, you want to make sure that the groundwork is laid and that this relationship is worth it. But you want that other person, that man, to know that you value them as well. And so there's absolutely nothing wrong with paying sometimes. Especially, you know, when Wallace and I were really heavily dating, we were seeing each other every day. If there was somewhere I wanted to go and I'm like, hey, I want to go here this evening or here this weekend, it was my idea, I would pay for it. But he had already proven himself to be an awesome companion. He had already shown that he had no problem spending money on me, spending time with me. And so we already saw that comment. Yeah, they're going to come in order. But yeah, so I had no problem doing that because I never wanted him to feel as if I was using him or just taking him for granted or I was a gold digger. You know, I never wanted to do that. Absolutely. Making sure you spoil each other. I love doing stuff for Wallace because I like seeing him smile. Hello, Nightbot. I don't have Nightbot, Sheed. I was trying to get Nightbot, but it got a little too confusing with me with all those codes and stuff. Hey, resilient dad. And OCD-ish, I know I have put your comments up here, but I don't know if I have officially spoken to you. So, hey, girl, hey. Let's see, Casey, listen, I'm always the one who asks hubby out because him always busy with work, relieving him from work. Yeah, and that's the thing, too. You just have to do what's fair and what makes sense, because if you do have a mate that is working, because I know Casey personally, she is one of my coaching clients who has turned friend, turned family, turned little sister. So I know exactly what she's talking about and how hard her husband works and how much he works. And, you know, she has to kind of force him to take a time out. And there's nothing wrong with that because, he's doing all the things. He's not going out because he's just kicked back, playing PlayStation, watching TV, and just doesn't want to be bothered. He works hard to support his family, and they got a whole bunch of kids. So that he works hard. And so, she has to kind of say, hey, take a break. Let's do something. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's kind of like when Lachey was talking about gender roles and different things. You have to do what works for you. And so even though it would look like, oh, well, I want my husband to take me out, I want my husband to do these things. But if he is working his fingers to the bone to provide for you and just doesn't have that extra bandwidth, there is nothing wrong with that being on you to do that, as long as he's receptive. That's the thing. It's about the resolve. It's about the solution and how it ends. So whatever works for you at the end of the day is what is most important. And that's why we say the hallway. It's not the only way, and it might not be the perfect way for you, but it is our way. And we just feel like if you could just take little bits of what we're saying to enhance what you have, that's fine. You don't have to do it exactly the way that we say we have to do it.
Let me share something with you real quick on that. If you tell him or her, they working long day hours, things like that, you say, hey, Friday night, be ready at 5 o'clock, and you have their clothes laid out for them to wear, or hey, we're going to do this. You even, like I say, you really got to tell them what you're going to do. Just tell them to be ready. Be ready, be dressed. We're out of here. We got something to do that night. And I guarantee you, him or she, whoever,
him or she,
whoever is going to be ready, is going to be like, oh man, what they got planned, what they got going on, what's going to happen, what are we going to do? That excitement starts it up. And that's kind of like what I shared, that they start challenging you, just doing stuff. You ain't got plans, say, hey, we're going here, we're going here. No, just tell them, be ready, have clothes laid out, we out of here. So, different little weekend getaways and things like that. So like I say, it can happen from both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too, just that excitement and spontaneity can be enough. Hey, Lisa, to, make the tiredness go away. Why is Nightbot in here? I have no idea what's up with Nightbot, y'all. I could do this all day, stop gaming. I don't know what's up with Nightbot. I want to get Nightbot, but I don't think Nightbot is definitely tripping, because I guess I connected it, but I don't have the right commands in there. But yeah, being spontaneous and doing things, we be home all day together. So now, yeah, okay, so be spontaneous, J3, and
get out.
Get out.
Stop Ubering food from that
no, they cook, and J3 cooks on Thursdays and Fridays.
But no, he was talking about he had Ubered something or DoorDash or something a while back. Some place he had got some food from.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Barnyard or something he was talking about.
Oh, when he was on Miss T?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed that. Yeah. But yeah, so J3, he cooks on Thursday and Fridays. I do know that, to give his wife a break. So I love that as well. But awesome. Yeah, just whatever works for you, and being spontaneous and just doing little things. Don't get caught up too much. Like, a lot of couples just go to the movies together all the time. Now, if you go to the movies, I know a lot of people go to the dinner and then the movies. But why not switch that around and go to the movie and then the dinner? Because at least then you can talk about the movie. And these are for couples who don't have a lot to talk about and, find themselves at a loss for conversation. There are certain little things like that you can do to kind of spark the conversation. But yeah, so I forgot to even ask, anybody want to come up and chat with us? I told y'all I'm gonna be bad with that. So many people are so good. I think that's that's Amanda. So many people are good with that, but y'all are always welcome to my panel, and the link is right up there. So please don't be shy about it, but I will start running my mouth and forget to even invite y'all. It's horrible. Let me see. Amanda said, because my husband works out of state during the week, he always makes a big dinner for me on Sundays before he leaves. Nice. That is so sweet. And that's what I mean. It's that little stuff that just makes we watch movies on TV. I need y'all to get out the house, J3. Or girl. Okay, so Lisa J, I'm not a movie person at all to begin with. Most movies that everybody has seen, I have not seen. Wallace, on the other hand, is a huge movie person. And so we have had to find out how movies work for us. He knows if we're watching a movie at home, I'm not really going to pay attention, but I will sit with him and be his company. I'll be on my laptop doing whatever, but he also doesn't mind when we're watching movies at home. If I do dip in and out of the movie and have a question, he will pause the movie, explain whatever to me, and he doesn't get upset about it because he knows that that's not my thing. So he appreciates the fact that I just am going to spend that time with him while he's doing what he's doing. But every once in a while, you know, I'll catch something and be like, wasn't that to such and such? And he just pauses and answers my question. However, the drive-in has become our perfect thing because we get to see the movie, but we're outside because we take his big old 18-wheeler. It's really not an 18-wheeler. It's like, what, a Ford F-150? But the thing is,
no disrespect. What? Chevy Silverado Z71.
Oh, I'm sorry. This big old truck he got that's real loud. We take that to the movies, put our chairs in the bed. I have my laptop. We're watching a movie. I can talk during the movie. So that way he gets to see, because our drive-in here is only like 10 minutes from the house and it gets all the new movies. And so we love it because we both love being outdoors. It's perfect. And so that's how we compromise. And I can do my thing and he's doing his thing and we're good to go. So yeah, drive-in is, she said, dang, he sounds patient. He is very, very patient with me. I'm patient with him too, because he a hot mess. Hello from Alaska. Hey, we were supposed to be coming to Alaska in August, but something has come up business-wise, so we're having to switch that trip, but I cannot wait to get to Alaska. Let me see. Put some respect on it. Haha, I hear you, Mr. Wallace.
That's it.
Get it right. No Ford. Okay. I don't know why I thought, but it's a big old truck that's really, really loud and it sits high up off the ground. Chevy, that's a Tonka toy. Uh-oh. J3 coming for you, babe. Drive-in is good. Let's see. Hello, J3. Okay, everybody's just saying, hey, I'm trying to make sure. Okay. Casey got kicked out of the chat from Nightbot. I'm sorry, I don't know what. And she just texted me talking about I'm in timeout. I don't know what she said. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna have to fix Nightbot. I don't know what Nightbot got going on. Hello, she's Sunshine. Okay, so everybody's just saying hi to each other. But yeah, we're not gonna keep y'all long. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in today and has engaged with us. This is so much fun. It has been a while since we've gotten a chance to do this. So how did it feel, babe? Back in the saddle again.
It felt good to be back. You know, I'm glad we had a few technical difficulties. We had those ironed out next time. But like I say, this has been great to do this again.
I think we're good sitting like this until we figure it out. Because it's funny, we as soon as I hit live, I said, I think we're gonna have echo.
Yeah. It didn't kind of work out like we wanted to, but yeah, we
thought our heads were too big to both fit on one computer, but I think we good. Y'all, we got on our TheHallWAY t-shirts, which can be purchased on StaeHall.com. So we do have merch. So yeah, we're not really able to show them in the screen, but y'all see TheHallWAY. Yes. But we appreciate y'all. I need to get this Nightbot. Amanda, Nightbot gave you your last warning. I am so sorry, y'all. I don't know what's up with Nightbot. Miss T, I didn't see her in there here this evening, but I did send her a message because I need a little tutorial on Nightbot, because what I want to do and what I want to mention before we get off is that we do have a lot of content creators in here this evening that have become my cyber family. So y'all drop your links. We have, I Bring It Every Day just came in. We have Lee CJ, we have J3GS, we have Living Life as Lachey, Kicking It with Elvin. So many people who have awesome channels, building their channels, a resilient dad. So please make sure you check them out. And if y'all can, put your links in, just copy and paste and whatever you need to do. You know, it's an open platform. We all love and support one another in this family. So yeah, definitely put your links in the chat. And I would encourage each of you to just subscribe to at least 2 people if you can this evening that you see here in the chat, because there's some great people with a lot of different insight. We have a lot of gardeners here. So if you're into gardening and the outdoor thing, you can really get some good information. We have crochet. That's what Kelly does. I bring it every day, and she actually does some tutorials on crocheting. I wish I could do it. I just don't have the mental bandwidth nor the patience, but I like to watch her. So yeah, just follow it or subscribe to at least two people, Lacey J and Lachey. They go live on Fridays, I believe at 6:30, and they talk about some great topics. The two of them are so cute. They're always looking all glamorous on their lives. So please just check them out and put on your notification bells so that you'll be notified every time a new video or some new content drops. And just let's support one another, because it takes a village. And when we say that, it's not only about raising kids. It takes a village. None of us are an island, and we all need somebody to help us get to the level of success that we desire and deserve. I love my KC and Stae. They became so much to me. We love you too, Amanda. You are absolutely awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, y'all. Well, we are going to let you go. I love and appreciate you all to bits and pieces. I thank each and every one of you for being here. And as always, I want you to remember to love one another and always be kind, but never forget to live your life. LYFE. Love yourself first explicitly. And we'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.